Hey guys, Rachele here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome, and if you are returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So today I'm going to be doing a hashtag. This one is called hashtag Tarot 7 Connection, and it was created by Marilyn from Tarot Clarity. So there is 7 questions, so I figured I would just do a walkthrough or, flip through these cards while I answer the questions. And this is the B Tarot by Christopher Hughes, art by Nadia Turner. These are the gorgeous backs. Ooh. This is how I edge them. Okay, so the first question is, are there any types of readings that you won't do, and why not? Well, for me, I definitely would not do when am I going to die kind of questions. That's the first big no-no. I'm not going to specifically do anything that diagnoses anybody or anything like that. Whether that be mentally, physically, medical, I would not do that. Would I do like third party? Yeah, I would do third party. I think if you're going to be doing love readings, yeah, and sorry, my hands are tore up from using a walker. I feel like if you're going to do love readings, at some point there's going to be third party. Yes, I do predictive readings. However, I think with all things, there is, once you know that information, you can either truly manifest that or you can change it. So I think that bit depends on the person, but yeah, I do predictive. I don't understand how you cannot do predictive if you're doing even like a 3 card where it says future. So, and if somebody calls and says, I'm worried about what's going on in my marriage, or what does this person think of me, blah, 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 blah. I am going to do that kind of stuff. I'm going to try to reword it if I could, is there something that you should know that is going to affect your future kind of thing with this particular person, or something like that. I don't know how these are getting all mixed around. So other than that, even if somebody has if I see something come up that has to do with the body or something, health-wise, I would probably say, listen, this is what I see in the cards. So if you are concerned about this particular thing, then I always recommend going and seeing your doctor. Even if you don't get a reading and you're just worried about something, it is so much better just to go to your doctor and let them tell you what's wrong, because we as people can just make situations so much worse in our head than what they actually are in reality. And then we can turn around and create it. So I think that you are always better advised to go to your doctor if you have concerns about something, in regards to health, specifically. Okay, so the next question is there any tarot card that you identify with the most? Which is it? It doesn't necessarily have to be a trump card. It can be a pip card. Okay, so for me, I'm boring. I say the same thing all the time, and that is the Fool card. Simply because the Fool embodies every single other card in the deck, and I feel like as a human being, these are archetypes that are for human beings. So I can identify with every single card in the deck at given times, you know, at separate times. So I want to embody the Fool also because I feel like it's the Fool that is actually coming into life to live and experience. So I identify most with the Fool because it also embodies every other card. And as a human being, I embody every archetype that's in the tarot. So that's probably an easy answer. I also identify with all the queens. I identify with the Empress and the High Priestess as well. And the Magician. See why I say the Fool? Okay, so the next question is there any reading that you've ever done that either gave you the chills or impressed you? Don't betray anyone by name or anyone who's easily identifiable. Keep it anonymous. Yes, there have been a few, oops, how do I keep on getting these, that have, I mean, literally played out just like the card said. However, I want to really talk about one in particular that I did a few years ago. And it was my own reading. And I got a 555. I don't remember what the fives were. The Five of Swords, maybe Five of Wands, and Five of Pentacles, or Five of Hearts. It was one of them. I was going to say Five of Hearts, but I meant Five of Cups. And I'm thinking, damn, this is going to be a bad week, right? I'm like, why all these fives changed it? And also that week, I got my copy that I had been waiting for forever. Because I had, and it was the Spirit Keepers tarot. And it was the Vitruvian version. And I had seen the first version, the black and white, but I was just too late to get it, right? And then it became out of print, and then it became entirely too expensive. So I just, you know, said, no, I'm not going to be getting that. But when the Vitruvian came out, I was like waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. It seemed like an eternity. It wasn't, but it seemed like an eternity because it was just like, at the time, one of the most beautiful decks, and it was that I had ever seen, and it still is. It's a gorgeous deck. But the number that I got was 555. My numbering, my count was 555, and I got the deck that week. And that really showed me right then and there, and this was early on in my tarot journey, it showed me that you cannot take the meaning so literally. There are other things at play with the cards. Now, this depends on the reader, because I believe that the cards are a direct communication between you and your higher self, or you and your guides, or what have you, whatever you believe. But I believe that it can be a direct communication with my higher self, a direct communication with spirit, direct communication with ancestors and my past life self, and just any number of woo-woo or spiritual connections. Other than just, because you can just read the card meanings, right? But that really solidified to me that there was a whole lot more to just reading the tarot. So when things pop in your head, because many times when I'm reading the cards, especially when I've done past life readings, I get these like movie scenes that just like play out in my head. Sometimes I hear songs. It's not always about the card. It's not always about the meaning of the card. It's about what it helps to facilitate in your own intuition and your own psychic abilities. Not just intuition, but your own psychic connection with the afterlife sometimes, with your higher self, with spirit. You know, you get the gist of what I'm saying. So that one blew me away. And I could show everybody because I had shown everyone, this is when I was still doing paper journaling. I had journaled out the pages. And then when I got the deck and it was 555, because it wasn't a bad week at all. It was a good week. So why would I get 555, right? Because you think, oh, good God, shit's really going to be hitting the fan this week. It was impactful, and it changed everything for me. Because I used to be in the very beginning thinking, you can't be a tarot reader unless you know the meanings because blah, blah, blah. I don't think that anymore, because the tarot doesn't always work through the meanings of the cards. And that was my proof. And I've had other things that prove that as well. Okay, so the next question is 4. Which is your preferred system of tarot? Pip style includes Italian, Tarot de Marseille, or any Pip tarot deck. Then there's Thoth, there's Waite, Coleman Smith, there's Continental, or any other. Why do you like this system best? Well, at this point, the system that I know best is the RWS. That's what I learned on. However, gosh, man, I can't pick just a system. I really love Thoth. I really love Tarot de Marseille. Just what little I know about it, because the way that I use it is like in numerology, right? And it could be that. I don't know. I'm learning about Tarot de Marseille. But I love the style of pips. I think that it actually opens up more than just having illustrated pips. That really, like, you can't really expand other, I mean, you can, but not in the same way, I think, than when it is a pip. So, 5. Do you prefer doing in-person readings, remote, or other types, and why? My preferred actually is face-to-face. When I have done face-to-face readings, they are so powerful. And I feel that connection so strongly. I love doing like live readings with the other person. I think that is, for me, the best. But I can easily do where I make a video and do a reading. And I feel like I'm definitely in that. But I just tell you, it is easier for me to get into the energy of somebody when they're sitting right next to me or right in front of me. Usually it's across from me when I'm doing tarot. I prefer that. And there is nothing like it. And the psychic connections that happen, and that just, it's amazing. I have done tons of FaceTime readings, and those are extremely strong too, because I feel like that person is right across from me. Even though they're on a video screen, I'm still seeing them. I'm still feeling their energy live at that same time. So those are my preferred. Question 6. Besides tarot, are there any other oracular systems? Darn it, I'm sorry. I'm trying to do 2 things at once. I'm not good at multitasking. Besides tarot, are there any other oracular systems that you enjoy using? Which ones and why? I love Geomancy. I love Geomancy. I had never even heard about Geomancy until I got the Geomantic coins from James R. Eads, and that at the same time that I got the Cosmovisions and Prismavisions. Is it Prismavision? A couple of those decks. I can't remember what their names are. But I got the coins. And I started reading about Geomancy, and I was like, oh my gosh, I had never heard about this before. And then I ended up making a deck. But I love doing that so much. And I love doing, like, when I've done it, automatic writing. Now, see, one of the reasons I like geomancy so much also is because I feel like if you are coming up with your mother, which for those of you that don't know about geomancy, there's a shield, okay? You create like a shield, and it's like on paper. I don't have it here in front of me, but you have mothers, you have 4 mothers, you have 4 daughters, you have nieces, you have like your left and right. I don't remember all the names. It's been a while. But one of the ways that I like doing it the best, you can do it with dice, you can do it with cards in order to get your 4 mothers. That then you do, it's a matter of like eliminating and counting and stuff like that in order to get to like your answers. I love doing like the automatic where you like close your eyes and you have a pen and paper and you just like feel it coming through you. And then you just start making dots or you making dashes. And it's like you're not the one that's doing it. It's like it's a channel that's being opened up in you. And you do that for your first 4 mothers. So you just keep on, so you end up doing like 16 different lines. But it is so powerful and you can really feel that channel coming through. Of course, I love, sorry, I'm terrible at multitasking. Of course, I love astrology. I am an astrologist, a true sidereal astrologist, and I run charts for people. So there's that. I like runes. Yeah. I'm just now starting to learn about Lenormand also. I'm reading, what's her name? I can't remember. I got it upstairs, the book upstairs. So far, it's pretty good. I'm also doing a course on Lenormand, and I've gotten through all the meanings, but the meanings just, I guess there's like 2 different sets of meanings that people use for Lenormand. So I figured, you know what, I'm just going to get the book and then I'm going to work through what I believe that I want to work with the Lenormand. Okay, last question. What solidified your connection with tarot? It was the deck. In the beginning, when I started reading, I felt, I think, a lot of, like, especially because I was on TarotTube and I had seen a whole bunch of people that had been reading for a long time. And I thought, oh my gosh. And people that are 20 years younger than me, right? Because I just started reading tarot when I was 47 or 48, around there. And that's when I picked it up for the first time. Now, I had had a couple of readings over the years, but I just thought that being a tarot reader was like the most mystical thing, and you had to be a special person to be able to do it. And then when I got my first deck, I just felt like I wasn't learning it quick enough, or I wasn't retaining it, because as you get older, it's not so easy, especially when you're researching stuff all the time and learning several things at once. It's hard to remember things, right? So for me, I just kept on having issues with it. And then I made myself a cheat sheet, or several cheat sheets. And they were just small little, like card size, like this size. And I didn't have one for the major arcana. I never really had problems remembering what the major arcana meant. It was the minors that I had issues with. And believe it or not, a lot of people have problems with the quartz, remembering the quartz. The quartz were not a problem for me. For the most part, in general. The problem that I had was remembering what the numbers meant, all the minor arcana, and for each suit. And so I made 4 cheat sheets, and I put them on little card holders. And whenever I did any reading, whether it was for another person that was across from me, who knew I was just learning, right? Or family members, or for myself, or when I was doing readings on YouTube, you know, doing like hashtags and spreads and stuff like that, I had them right out in front of me. And I tell you, that made such a huge difference for me. You would not believe. I held myself back. I realized that when I had them there, in order to, and I had them like, another reason why I always put my tarot in a certain order is because that's how I would also put my cards. So wands, cups, swords, pentacles. So I had them in order. So immediately I knew what card to go to if I needed to as a quick reference. And I had like 1 through 10 on each one of what, you know, like 3 or 4 or a line of what I thought that meant. And I mean, it was like no time at all, maybe a month of doing that. And I had them all down, and I was confident enough I could set them aside and I didn't need them anymore. Actually, I sent them off to friends because I made 2 sets, one for downstairs and one for upstairs, so that I always had them with me if I felt like I needed them. And I realized that I already knew them. I knew them, but I was so afraid of messing up. It's like when you've tested for something for so long, like a test, and then you just like mess it up because you're like so nervous or like self-doubting, an imposter syndrome. That I definitely had imposter syndrome at that point because I thought, no, I'm not a tarot reader. I don't know, you know what. And it was the meanings. Once I got past the meanings and was confident in the meanings, then I could go off and didn't have to use the meanings anymore, as funny as that sounds. And then having the right deck. Having the right deck with the right illustrations, like the Light Seers, like the Everyday Witch, it just clicked. It just clicked. And that is what solidified me as a tarot reader. Because now even when I go back, even though the neither of those decks were my first decks or even my second or third, fourth, fifth decks, the fact that they resonated so deeply with me, now when I use a different deck, if I don't know that card really well or if it looks really like strange, in my mind's eye, I go back to like what the Light Seers card looks like, or like what the Everyday Witch, or there's other ones now that it looks like. Other ones will pop in my head and then I'll go, oh. So yeah, it was me making the cheat sheets. There is no shame ever in how we have to learn. We have to set ourselves up for success. And so that's what I did. And that's what solidified me. Because now I know the meanings. I have no problem with the meanings. I haven't for a long time. What they mean to me might be different than what they mean to you, and that's another thing. It's okay for that to be the case too, because like I said, I don't feel like it's always about the meanings. I feel like it's a connection with your higher self. So this is probably too much information for this particular video, but I'm just going to say it. When somebody draws cards and they're drawing for you, it's not for your interpretation. It's for their interpretation because they were the ones drawing the cards. So if you have a querent or you see somebody doing readings like me, if you see me doing readings on my channel or I see anybody else doing readings on their channels, even though we're readers, it's not for our interpretation. Those cards were not meant for us because sometimes our association with those cards is not what somebody else's association would be. So I can say, and I've said to my friends before, well, if it was me, if we're doing readings, which we've done tons, this is what it would mean to me. But what does that card mean to you? When you're looking at the pictures, what does it mean to you? Do you have a certain connection with that particular card when you were learning the tarot? So there you go. So this has been hashtag Tarot 7 Connection. This has been wonderful. I wanted to catch up on a couple of different hashtags now that I'm downstairs again. And I wanted to show this deck because it is so pretty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at, oh my gosh. That picture right there, right? So thank you for spending this time with me. If you haven't done this, I highly recommend doing it. And I love to see everybody else's answers too, or hear everybody else's answers. And thank you for spending this time with me, and I'm sending you love always.